Bowzone Live is brought to you by Afflictor Broadheads, Bully.ca, Bronc Beer, Easton Archery, Euromounter, PV Mart, Power in Motion, Yokohama Tires, and White Rock Performance Gear.
Welcome to Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola with you as we enter our second week of Bowzone Live. Thus far on the show, we've seen Corey Cook and Heather Wilson tag out, and that means Heather gets to join us as co-host today from the comforts of her home. Kevin, by the way, is out in the stand. Heather, you've had a chance to decompress a little bit, enjoy the splendor of the buck that you did harvest on Saturday. When you look back on that hunt, what stands out to you?
I'm just really happy with my buck. He's gorgeous. He's a 4x5. He's got beautiful chocolate antlers, and I'm a sucker for those. And I think it just keeps replaying in my head how fortunate I was that everything came together, because there's so many pieces that needed to fall into place for it to actually happen and to allow me to take that buck.
You also
especially
had
on camera.
You also had, you had some great footage, and you had your good luck charm with your nails painted with the antlers. And yep. I understand that has sort of caught on with everyone.
Well, there was definitely some discussion. I know that there's a couple of people that have put antlers on nails in particular. So we'll see. I think it's funny. I'm waiting to see if it pays off, because if those two shoot, then the other guys I'm sure will follow suit.
Well, hopefully it does pay off like it did for you, Heather. How about conditions? Things have changed since we were last here on Saturday. Things have warmed up a little bit. What are you noticing, and what are you seeing from our group chat?
Well, it's definitely warmed up a bit. It's that helps with the mood of the guys sitting on stand, because they're not spending so much energy trying to stay warm. Like Ryan kind of alluded to earlier, like you don't eat as much, you're not moving. So you get chilled a lot easier. It helps if you're seeing things. It makes the time go by. You don't notice the cold as much. Yesterday was quite a quiet day. Today, the guys are seeing bucks. They're seeing does. They're seeing bucks chasing does. And this point in the cycle, we're into that last part of the second estrus. The big bucks are moving. All bucks are moving. But you're going to see those big bucks are on a mission. They're moving quite quickly. When guys see them, they're going to have a lot less time to get ready and to get them in the frame and then get drawn and not get busted. So it gets harder. It becomes a real mental game, because you're not necessarily seeing as many deer unless you're right where they are. Deer are still moving, but if you're not in the right spot, you won't see them, and then you'll think that they're not moving.
Speaking of the mental grind, Heather, I mean, I know we've seen some comments in the group chat, some people kind of alluding to the mental grind. How do you find is the best way to deal with it yourself?
You know, I just would pick timelines, and I would just say, okay, you know, if it's really cold or something, I just tell myself half an hour more or an hour more. I'd set a timeline and I just keep hitting it, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm good. Okay, so I can go to the next section. The other thing that helps, like I said, is if you start to see animals, it passes the time. Like if you have deer walking through, you're not paying attention to the fact that, you know, you might be cold or chilly or that kind of stuff, because you're focused on something else. It is warming up. Normally we get a bit warmer temperatures and it'll melt, and then you get a freeze, and then we can hear the animals moving. And this time we haven't had that. We've still got them walking. They're quiet. It's really hard to hear. Some guys are sitting where they can see a long ways, but some aren't. They're sitting where they're a little more concealed and they're not able to see the movement. And so they really rely on being able to hear the deer coming in. And so it would be nice to get a little bit of a thaw and then a freeze, so you can get the crunch, which will help them, you know, so that they can hear the deer.
We've got lots in store for you today on Bowzone Live. We're going to hear from Keith McDonald, Zach Brown, Gunther Tondelier, among others, and a tough story from Jason Maas. Heather, it is great to have you along for the ride today.
Good to be here.
Time now to check out wildtv.ca/contest. Enter for a chance to win a brand new Traeger grill from PV Mart, a 1-year supply of arrows, courtesy of Easton, the official arrows of Bowzone Live hunters, a 1-year supply of Afflictor broadheads. You can also win a hunter's package from the folks at Setlock. Finally, a Bronc Beer swag pack from our friends at Bronc Beer. So check out wildtv.ca/contest to find out more about the great prize packages from all of our wonderful sponsors. Welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola alongside Heather Wilson. And Heather, it's time to get an update from some of our hunters. But as we get set to do that, we talked a little bit about the mental grind and what they've been going through. How would you describe and sum up what they're currently dealing with today in the stands?
Well, again, it kind of plays back to whether they're seeing deer or not. Some of them are probably thinking maybe they should have shot something that they'd seen earlier in the week. Some of them may be just holding out strictly for that one buck, and that's all they want. They want the one target buck that they've got.
There's been a lot of action in the group chat. And
there's been a lot of action.
Yes, and one of the people that's had a ton of action is Gunther Tondelier. No buck just yet, but what have we been seeing and hearing from Gunther?
Well, the guys have been bugging Gunther about, he's got a rubbing post, and a lot of the deer have been going there and rubbing their antlers on it. And that's one way that the bucks mark their territory, let people know that they're there, let other bucks know that they're there, figure out what's going on in the area. And so they've got these bucks that have been rubbing. And so the guys are joking that they all need this post. So that's one of the things going on there. I know Gunther is holding out for a big one. He's let a lot of deer pass him, and he's still waiting. He's just waiting for that one buck that he wants to shoot.
Well, while we've been waiting for that big buck that Gunther wants to shoot, he has captured a ton of footage. Let's have a look at what Gunther Tondelier has been up to recently. We've heard from Gunther. Now let's focus our attention on Logan Johnson. Logan is a firefighter by day, but he's out in the Bowzone for Bowzone Live. Heather, what do we need to know about Logan Johnson?
Well, he is a young hunter. He's got a lot of enthusiasm. He's got a good sense of humor. He's spending a lot of time on stand. He's got a passion for bow hunting, and that's exactly what he needs to do, is to put in the time so that he can get the buck of his choice. And he's doing that. He's putting a lot of time in on stand.
Let's catch up with Logan Johnson.
Bucks cruise by. One of them was the wide 4x4 I passed on about a week ago. Still a nice deer. No shot at him though, so we'll see if he tries to tempt me one more time. I'm gonna get out of here right now, regroup, and I'm going to sit a different spot that has a little more action. So if the bucks are following the does, hopefully go to where the does are and the buck should follow. All settled in the tree for the afternoon sit. Change locations a bit. This stand looks to be in a really good spot. I can see a scrape line right ahead of me. Tracks absolutely everywhere in the field.
Welcome back to Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola alongside Heather Wilson for today's show. And Heather, our hunters are out in their stands today in their different locations. Each hunter has different techniques. Does that play into all of this, or are our hunters using tried and true techniques right now to try to get a buck in this final week?
I think the hunters are throwing everything they've got in their bag of tricks to try and get a buck to come into range. You can see it on the chat. Some are asking, has anyone tried rattling? And then someone will comment, oh, I rattled in a buck this morning, or someone will say, well, I rattled and the buck took off, right? So I think it depends very much where they're sitting, if they're in big bush, if they're in small bush, grunting even, like a lot of times people will grunt and bring the buck in or make them more curious. And then other times the buck is running away. And you could see that in the chat yesterday as well. And even this morning. I do think that I can't remember if it was Logan or Zach that rattled in a buck this morning. And so they were quite excited, but they said it like went 100 miles an hour around them and then took off again. So I think the hunters are doing everything that they know how to do to try and get that buck into bow range.
Is a curveball that can be thrown at a hunter potentially a deer's own personality or its own characteristics?
Well, deer, I do think, have their own personalities. I think they probably have their own moods. Some are on a mission and they're just going, they're looking for that next doe. Some are sauntering through. So I think it depends when you catch that buck at that one moment, whether they respond or not. And you just do what you can to try and make them react and come in.
Each buck is different, so too are each one of our hunters. It's our time now to meet the hunters.
Hey, I'm Keith McDonald. I'm from Enoch Cree Nation here in Treaty 6 territory. Been bow hunting here in the Bowzone all my life. So I own and operate Enoch Trophy Whitetails. I'm a small outfit here in the heart of the Bowzone. We're very successful. I have regular hunters that visited me for the last 10 years, and they know the area really well. It's a different hunt. It's a big territory, and it's a surprise every day. You never know what's going to show up. Deer live and die of old age out here, so that's how we get them. By day, I'm a project manager. I work for Enoch Band, Enoch Housing Authority. Fortunately, but unfortunately, we had Corona this year, and I was set up to have my regular 10 clients come in and hunt this year. And because they didn't show up, I have 13 fresh stands out there. So for me, the hardest part is figuring out where I'm going to go every day. But I'm trying to stick to the hot spots, but I have set up some hot ones specially for this show. And that, like I said, the hardest part right now is just figuring out what stand I want to go to in the morning.
My name's Heather Wilson. I'm an intensive care nurse and I'm from Edmonton. I started out with a passion for the outdoors and I used to do a lot of backcountry hiking and camping. And then when I met my now husband, he got me into shooting bows and guns, and I just fell in love with bow hunting because I like the closeness of it and the fact that you have to be really stealthy to get your animal.
Hey everyone, my name is Logan Johnson. I'm from Stony Plain, Alberta, and I'm a full-time firefighter. Hunting whitetails is my favorite thing to do in November. The rut is just around the corner and the whitetails are about to go nuts. And to rattle in a big mature whitetail buck, I think is every bow hunter's dream. I know it's one of mine, and there's no bigger rush.
I'm Gunther Tondelier. I live here in the Bowzone and I've been bow hunting for nearly 30 years now. And my passion for bow hunting turned into my livelihood about 15 years ago when I became a professional outfitter guide with Wizard Lake Outfitting. We offer black bear, moose, and whitetail deer hunts right here in the Edmonton Bowzone.
My name's Louis DeBrusque. I was born in Galt, Ontario, grew up in Port Elgin, Ontario, but now make Edmonton my home. I'm a former professional hockey player now that's gone into broadcasting post-career. You know, hunting for me it just brings back childhood memories, and it was my grandfather and my dad that introduced me to the world of hunting. The stories at the table at night, I couldn't get enough of them. Finally was able to go out there and hunt with my dad and my grandfather both, and it's a love that I've had ever since then. From a young individual, it's been with me my whole life. Out here in Alberta, it's one of the best places in the world to have that passion and chase around multiple species, but right now in the Bowzone, we're going after white-tailed deer.
My name is Zach Brown. I'm a hunting and fishing guide, so this is a good fit for me. I was born in Fort McMurray, Alberta, and now I reside in Edmonton. I spend most of my summers here and also in Northwest Territories doing some fishing guiding. I grew up hunting and fishing. I always did it recreationally, and as I got older I got involved in fish guiding, which then led to hunting guiding. And so now for the past several years I've been mostly doing bear, moose, and deer guiding, and then my summers is filled with fish guiding. The downside to guiding is that the best hunting time is filled in that time. So I usually don't get to hunt for myself. I've actually never killed a deer with my bow. I mean, I've had an opportunity of killing moose, bears, but never a deer, because I'm usually always guiding during prime time. So these last couple of years I've been trying to spend some extra time doing my own hunting, and that's why I'm excited for this upcoming season.
My name is Ryan Kohler and I'm the president of Wild TV. I can tell you right now that filming alone and trying to film kills and trying to film whitetails by yourself is the next level. It's the next level of hunting whitetails in the Edmonton Bowzone. You've got the GoPro in front of you or behind you, you've got a camera on a camera arm, you've got to somehow move the camera into the frame with the deer walking into the frame at the exact same time and get the shot at the exact same time. It's a huge challenge. I've done it for a number of years now, and it's very, very hard to get a big mature whitetail on video that you filmed yourself.
My name is Jason Maas. I reside currently in Sherwood Park, Alberta. I coach football in the Canadian Football League. I started bow hunting in 1999. I was released in the NFL. I went back to my hometown of Yuma, Arizona. Had nothing really going on. I was working and working out, and my best friend's dad asked me what I was going to do. I said, I don't know, I'm just going to work out. And he said, well, I've got something for you. He's like, I'd like to teach you how to bow hunt. I took him up on the offer, and I went and hunted with him around Tucson, Arizona. Killed my first animal, which was a javelina, and was hooked on bow hunting ever since. I feel very fortunate to hunt in Alberta and to hunt in the Bowzone, but in particular to be asked to be on this and get this opportunity.
You're watching Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola alongside Heather Wilson. And Heather, we're going to catch up with Jason Maas shortly. And before I talk to him, tough situation for Jason. And without giving away too much, hunts don't always go the way they did for you on Saturday for all hunters, correct?
Correct. I think if you've hunted long enough, everyone has a story or a situation that they can talk about. Especially with bow hunting, it can be, the difference can be so small. It can be that you've changed where you anchor. You can have your peep sight not centered. You can do all sorts of things. And sometimes you can even make the best shot and you can still end up with a little bit more of a story than you wanted, shall we say.
We certainly got a story from Jason. Let's hear from him right now. Jason Maas joining us now. Jason, the last time we caught up with you, you were talking about a close call with a buck named Lucky. And I know you were fired up about that one, the close encounter and almost getting him. I know that is motivation for you, but since we last caught up with you, take us through this most recent adventure, if you will, of what you experienced.
Obviously, the last time we spoke, I was just describing the near miss, or the miss, I should say, on a giant for me. I mean, it's the biggest deer I've ever seen on hoof. And to have it such a close call on such a big buck, it was frustrating, but I know a lot of hunters who have hunted have had opportunities like that, and it happens. You're a bow hunter, it's gonna happen. So it was hard to go to sleep at night, but I've been so tired. I've been doing this for 10 or 12 days straight, getting up at 3:30 or 4 in the morning, driving an hour to hunt. So really, to be honest with you, I didn't sleep. I slept pretty well. And my plan was to sleep in and shoot a little bit in the morning before I went out and hunted again. So I'd kind of feel a little refreshed, and that's what I ended up doing. I got up, it was hard to sleep past 5:30, but I did. I got up about 5:45 and had breakfast, and then had a coffee, helped Ryan get into his stand, and then I shot a few times. Felt good about my shots. Cleaned out my truck, got everything organized again, so I was in a better frame of mind heading to the stand, and then took off to a stand that we've again seen some really good bucks out of. It was a beautiful set. I walked in, I think I got into my stand at about 11:30. We've got people on Bowzone Live, all the hunters talking about some incense they've been burning, so I figured I'd try that. The wind was going to be really good that day for me where I was sitting. So I put an incense down, I started to burn it, and it usually lasts about an hour and a half. And I wasn't up in my stand more than an hour, and a buck came by.
This is unbelievable, but Jason, I know you're a great storyteller. The suspense is killing us. Let's just get to your footage.
Okay, well, about a few hours ago, I ended up shooting a buck. He came in, I put a smelling incense thing burning down, and he came in looking for it. He did a little pass around. I wasn't quite ready to shoot when he came in, but he did a circle and he came back, and he's an 8-pointer. Beams came out pretty good. I just, I don't know. I felt good about shooting him. He came around this one tree. He was 25 yards. He started to come out. I burped to stop him, and I shot. I think he was quartering slightly to me, not away, which you'd rather have. And looking at the footage, I feel like I hit him high. I don't like ever wounding an animal, and
I'm a big meat eater anyways, so I mean, to not be able to harvest a buck to eat makes me sick to my stomach, and I just hope he survives if I can't find him. Generally with the high shot, there's nothing up there, so we'll see. Well, I came back, and here's what I obviously initially saw. That's where I shot him. And then as you're going down this trail, you know, obviously if you hit a double lung shot, you're gonna see blood squirted on either side. And this was the initial trail. You're about 15 yards in, you don't see much blood yet. I could have just seen his tracks. And then I do start to find blood. And I initially couldn't find my arrow either, so there's the first bit of blood. So I thought the arrow was still in him. There's more blood. And more and more, and it's squirting definitely out the left side pretty decently. And there's a good spatter. But not being able to find my arrow, I thought it was still in him, and you know, I was kind of looking for my arrow more than anything on this trail. Well, as I get up here about 60 yards, coyotes must have got right on him right away, and I'll go ahead and show you that. There's a big scrape he walked right through. It's quite interesting, this spot up here. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know if the deer had tried to lay on the ground or do whatever, but it looks like coyotes were right on him, and I didn't hear them. That's what's amazing. So there's some more blood for you. More blood. And again, when I was walking through here, I mean, I was slowly walking, creeping. You know, it was a very quiet day. The snow is very soft. I actually stopped up here and had a little 4-point buck, not even know I was here. He was walking this trail, looked at me after I had seen him already and was waiting with my bow up and ready, you know, just to see if I could do that. I always like to practice. But anyways, I get to this spot up here, and I'm going to show you this, and I had never seen it before. And like I said, this was within 2 hours of me getting down from my stand that the coyotes must have been right on him. So this is where he must have bedded quickly or started to bed or something. And then there's another big thing of blood in a bed. And another thing, so he's hurting for sure. But then I got to this spot. So one of the very last spots I saw blood was right here. And there was quite a few ravens and magpies just over there. And from here I could see my deer, and you can see him if I zoom in from here, because it's the first vantage point. Okay, well, this is what the site I came up to, and obviously you can see coyotes is devastated. The deer, you know, probably later in the afternoon that night. But when I walked up, you know, it's one of those things as a bow hunter, you're excited to recover your animal. Like I said, I'm more of the meat eater type of guy. So as fun as it is to, you know, hunt and get a buck like this, it's also a part of you that, you know, dies a little bit with them. Wishing I would have made a better shot to double lung them so that I could find him and eat him. But, you know, that's also nature. That's also the way the world works sometimes. You don't make something perfect happen. I'm thankful that I was able to track him and find him, because the blood trail was very difficult to track, even in a lot of snow, tracking just mostly his footprints. And when I did jump him up, you know, he ran. So to find that initial track was hard, but did it. And I'm thankful to recover him. He ain't the biggest deer in the world, and I don't care. It was such an awesome hunt. Being able to see him come in. I knew when I sat down that tree stand, I texted Ryan, I said, whatever comes through here, I might shoot, just because it's so beautiful. When you're gonna stop a deer, the burp you hear, I could have waited 2 more feet. And he stops right there in that lane, and I probably have a great shot. The next thing is, You know, I'm not a professional hunter, but I got professionals on this group that I could have relied on. And so if you do have those type of people to rely on, first thing I should have done is call. I called Ryan, called Gunter, called somebody and said, hey, here's the footage. What do you think? What should I do? Especially when I got down, I didn't find my arrow right away. I found it had a luminoc on it, so as soon as it got dark, I could see my arrow right away, and it was a complete pass through. And the blood trail wasn't a double lung. I know what a double lung looks like. You can follow it if you're blind, basically. So the blood trail that I was walking on for 150 yards before I bumped him up, you know, I should have just stopped and went back to the tree and called, and I didn't. So obviously, in doing that, you know, I didn't get him in time. You know, maybe if we'd have went back at 5 in the afternoon, he would have been in that first bed I found him in. Who knows? Maybe the coyotes would have already got on him. I don't know, but I know those are 2 lessons to learn. So hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and not repeat them. But I am very thrilled, like I said, with the animal. So initially when I saw him, he was walking away, and you could see how close his beams are to each other. I thought they were a little further out, which would have made him a bigger deer, but really cool blade. Pretty good size on his G2s, but I'm thrilled. I mean, to be able to film them, to be able to get them and recover them, make a good track. Very satisfied with that. Unfortunately, like I said, I won't harvest any meat off of them. But again, that's bow hunting at times, and just got to learn from your mistakes. I hope, like I said, you learn from mine.
Listen, Jason, you fill the tag, but I know you wanted to fill the freezer. What bit of advice or what would you say to hunters watching that might wind up in a similar situation?
You know, at the end of the day, if you hunt long enough, and you know, the guys on the Bowzone Live, you know, we've talked about it today. There's been a lot of encouraging texts. I mean, if you hunt long enough, this kind of thing happens, and you've got to continue to persevere and to have thick skin and practice and give that animal its due that way. But ultimately, you got to give it your all to try to find it, and that's what I feel proud about. I mean, I got up this morning on a mission to find him, to kind of put closure to it. For the both of us, I had high hopes. I was hoping I'd pull up on him and he had just expired and I was going to be able to save all the meat. It was just a nightmare scenario when you pull up to an animal and he's eaten. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. What happens when coyotes get on a deer? So you know, the word of advice is, hey, it's happened. I mean, I'm here to tell you it happens, and you know, you just can't have second guess anything, and do your due diligence in trying to track and find that animal, and hope that you do. And if you don't beat yourself up about it. I mean, analyze the situation, try to get better. And like I said, I've given you a couple pointers of what I think I could do better, and ultimately that's what I'll focus on.
I have to ask, what are you going to take out of this Bowzone Live experience that you've had so far?
Oh, I mean, I think just the knowledge that's been passed on from the hunters, just listening to them hunt, you know, because we text all the time in a group chat, listening to what they're doing. Again, the incense thing, I'd seen it in stores, never really tried it, and I tried it, and it worked. The rattling sequences of Heather, and you know, the stand placements, and just the professionalism that goes into it, to hunting. I take such a great appreciation of that. A lot of knowledge passed on, the code of ethics that you try to live up to, passed down from Jim Hull Jr. to the guys and gals in the group. It seemed like everybody, you know, definitely thought that was a big thing for us to represent the Bowzone well, and you know, you hope you do that. Ultimately, again, I've had a couple experiences now that I hope people learn from, but I definitely was striving to be as ethical as possible, and that's again what I'm proud of.
I have to say, it's been a pleasure being along for the ride with you, and when I saw the pictures from Sunday morning, I was probably just as disappointed as the entire group, but it was a thrill, Jason. Thanks as always for your time and your passion, and I look forward to catching up with you more down the road.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you.
And hopefully that's not the last time we hear from Jason Maas. He's actually out hunting today with his daughter. He's He's just the cameraman, so hopefully we hear back from Jason Maas. More Bowzone Live coming up after this. Welcome back to Bowzone Live. We have a special guest for you right now from his tree stand, Keith McDonald, joining us. Keith, hey, you've quickly become a fan favorite here on Bowzone Live, and we appreciate you hopping on from the tree stand. Just tell us what it's like out there where you're at right now.
Well, today it's a little bit warmer than it has been. It's a nice afternoon. So what I got set up here is, as people know, as the rut progresses here, a lot of the does have already been bred. There might be a last couple going into estrus here in the next 4 or 5 days. So right now the giants are on their feet. They're going to be randomly roaming the whole territory here, doe bed to doe bed, checking fields at night, and they're just going to be looking for that last doe. And right now, with those big boys on their feet, those are the deer that we're looking for. We're not here to settle for anything small. We're not here to settle for any young deer. I'm here to kill an old giant deer for Bowzone Live. If I don't kill a giant deer, then I'm going to go home. I'm going to be happy because it's been a great experience. Where I'm sitting tonight, it's we call it the ranch. So it's wide open back here. I got a decoy set up down there. It's all wide open. What I'm doing is I got the decoy for a visual today because as these guys are roaming around aimlessly almost, I have her set up on a little high perch. So maybe if there's a buck coming by, I give him a little doe bleed as he goes by. He looks over, he sees her, he's coming in. Hopefully that's how it happens. I mean, theoretically.
We hope so too. Hey, you told us you didn't want to start till the 17th. Was that the right strategy going into this thing?
Absolutely. I know I missed a couple hot days, like 13th to 15th is usually pretty stellar days to be in a stand. You see a lot of action. But I wanted to stay fresh because I know like this is a tough game. I'm only halfway through this show. I've been hunting every day since Tuesday. Missed one morning, but it wasn't because I wanted to miss it. It wasn't because I didn't want to miss. I missed it because I wanted to go pull a couple stands and reset. But it's a tough game. I mean, I'm tired. I'm getting tired. And like I said, I never hunted. I rested. I was ready. I was doing my thing, exercising, trying to stay fit, trying to stay limber because climbing up a stand every morning, sitting here for 10 hours a day is a brutal, brutal game. We're very lucky. We're very lucky it hasn't been too cold. Because when you're sitting in a stand 5, 6, 7 days in a row and it's minus 20, 25, it's super hard on your body. And I mean, let's face it, I'm not a young man anymore. I try to keep fit just for this. But I mean, it's a tough game. So I think my strategy of waiting till the end so that I can catch a giant on his feet is probably going to work out for me, hopefully.
Keith, you're also really in touch with your land. How does that help you?
Well, I mean, I'm 48 years old and I've been roaming around these woods since I was 13 years old. My reserve is 20 square miles. So it might not seem like a lot, but 20 square miles in the heart of the Bowzone is fantastic. We have about, I'm going to say 50% agriculture and 50% woods. And I'm going to say I know every inch of these woods like the back of my hand. Like I said, I've been traveling around these woods for 35 years now. There's probably not a spot on this reserve that I haven't hunted. It's where I grew up. I mean, I've never had to hunt anywhere else growing up. I never traveled. I never had to go anywhere. Everything we ever needed was on a reserve. We can get our moose every year here, and giant whitetails have been the thing out here forever.
Keith, you've also talked about the respect you have for whitetails and how intelligent that they truly are. Just how tough can it be to get one of these things, especially during the rut? I know they're running around looking for those does, but how tough can those big, wily old bucks be?
Well, don't let anyone fool you. Just because they're running around acting crazy doesn't mean it's all that easy to get them. You still got to get within 25 yards of these animals, and they've been living in these woods for 7, 8 years, some of them 9, even 10 years. And if you've ever watched a mature buck walk through the woods, you understand what I'm saying. All they think about is survival. Every step they take is about watching, scanning. They don't make mistakes at that age. And the only time they make mistakes is, of course, in November. So hopefully in the next week here, one of those guys might let his guard down enough to give me a shot. And maybe, the creator's going to bless me with the opportunity at one of these animals. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I mean, I had 16 days in a stand, and it was wonderful. I mean, I'm with Mother Nature every day. I couldn't ask for a better time.
Keith, we're all rooting for you. Good luck. Hopefully you get one of those old mature bucks. And you've also captured a lot of great footage, which we're going to take a look at right now.
I came in the dark and I forgot about this stupid branch, and a couple branches got grown over the year. So I texted John and he said he'd come in at noon, trim the branches, because this is a hot spot. This is where they're exiting the field, exiting the woods to go into the field. Southwest wind today. Trails to my south.
Keith, you're the first hunter to join us from the stand. Give us a look at what you've been actually staring down for the last little while, and give us a little tidbit of what your terrain looks like.
So I'm sitting here. This is a little finger of woods. There's a pump jack back there, actually. So this is a finger of woods. It's about 60 yards from north to south, and it runs about 300 yards quartering to the northwest from here. But then in front, as you can see why it's called a ranch, this used to be an old ranch back in the day. So it's all agriculture and slough bottom back there. So, and of course, across the hill there, you see the rise up there. That's where the big boys live during the summer. I stay out of there. That's a sanctuary. We leave them alone when it's on hunting season. Let them live, let them sleep, let them rest. We get them in November.
Keith, thanks for this. We wish you nothing but luck, and we'll talk to you later on down the road here on Bowzone Live.
Okay, right on. Thanks, man. Have a good day, guys.
More Bowzone Live coming up after this. Welcome back to Bowzone Live. Tom Gazzola alongside Heather Wilson, and it's the time in the show where we're going to meet Zach Brown. He's one of the youngest on our crew. He's an outfitter and a guide, and he's been hunting with Ryan Kohler. And you know what? He's very fearless with the camera. We have to show you some incredible footage that he managed to capture with an encounter with a bear. Wow. First of all, Heather, I suppose don't mess with Mama Bear and her cubs?
No, that's one situation you don't want to find yourself in for sure.
Do you have any encounters and close ones like that with bears over your time hunting?
I've had them huffing at me. I've never had them bluff charge, but I have had them sit at the base of the tree and look up at me, and it makes you feel very vulnerable.
Oh, I can only imagine. All right, so Zach is one of our youngest on the crew. What do you know about Zach Brown?
I know that he is, like you said, I think he's the youngest on the crew. He is a guide for fishing in the summer, and I know that he's a deer guide in the fall. And he's taking advantage of the fact that there are no clients this fall, so he can hunt for himself. And he's a passionate bow hunter. And like they said, he's fearless as far as getting his footage, and he really, really, really wants to kill a whitetail in the Bowzone with his bow.
Well, let's see what Zach Brown has got in store for us thus far here on Bowzone Live.
That's officially the first deer I've seen. Well, sitting here for Bowzone Live. It looked like it was a small buck chasing a doe, or at least following it, I'm not sure. It was so tight and it was so far away in the trees. Didn't get a good look. I tried a few grunts to see if I could pull them this way, but usually when they're hot on a doe like that, there's no way they're gonna come in. But we'll see. My wind is kind of going in their direction. So, I'm not sure. I mean, they usually bet on these high points of these hills. So, I don't know. We'll find out. That was unreal. That was my first buck experience in the Bowzone. He walked around me completely. I saw him bedded at 100 yards. I think he stood up. I grunted. He came right to the tree stand. And then he kept staring at me, and he's a young deer, so he's not very smart, which helps. That's cool that they're coming to call. We just need a big mature one to do the exact same thing. And then I'll just arrow him right here. That's the third deer now I've brought in. The first one was grunting, the last two have been rattling. That deer was so cautious. He stopped in a semicircle, came around, and then came straight in, and then just walked out. That's so cool when they're running like this. I don't think it's full-fledged, I think they're just starting. But it's a good sign.
You're watching Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola with Heather Wilson today, and on Saturday it was Louis DeBrusque who was our co-host, Heather, and we wanted to show footage of Louis and what he's done to this point, but somebody went and harvested a deer on Saturday morning. That happened to be you. Way to go. Congratulations. But what do you know about Louis DeBrusque? Because I've known him for years.
Well, I don't know him well, but I have had the opportunity to talk to him on a few occasions. And what I do know is that he is a really good guy. He's a family man. He loves the outdoors. He's a good ambassador for hunting and specifically bow hunting. And he's an athlete. He has that competitive mindset and the mental toughness to be able to go out there and sit those long hours on stand and get it done.
Well, now's the perfect opportunity to see what Louis DeBrusque has been up to in the stand.
Sit in the knoll for the first time this year. The spot is just such a great central location, and it's right up against the bedding area, so the does will trickle by here. I had two come by this morning, kind of skirted around me, but the bucks are always searching in here, looking for does, trying to scent check the bedding areas and see if any does are ready to go after, so that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping for cruising buck to come through here and make a mistake of popping up on this knoll, so slipped into a different spot here, hoping that some of these bucks start to move around now and look for does. Now that the morning's kind of settled down, it's gotten a little warmer. We'll see. This is a real nice spot again. The Scotty spruce can really see a lot. We'll see what happens.
This is Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola with you as we go to Ryan Kohler's place, and he's got a couple of visitors with him. Ryan, you've got Gunther Tondelier with you as well as Zach Brown. And I want to ask you, since we're in week 2 here, how does the mental grind wear on a hunter in the Bowzone right now?
Well, I guess it depends who you are. Some guys can handle it and some guys can break pretty easy. I can give you a quick story from tonight. I heard a buzzing sound in my left ear all night, and I thought it was just me getting old. And it was actually the entire day. And then when I climbed down from my tree stand, the buzzing got louder and louder, and I thought, man, I got something is seriously wrong with me. I've been sitting in these trees too long. And I turned to my left, and there's one of my game cameras, and the batteries are dead, and it's just going beep. So I literally thought I was going bonkers in the stand, but it was my camera. It was kind of a funny moment.
Gunther, how do you deal with the emotional highs and lows and the grind of this, especially in week 2?
Well, you know, a full day on a tree stand, I personally am one of the guys who enjoys it. You know, years ago we used to do some filming together, and I just like to sit alone. I enjoy having the day of solitude, especially this year. A nice day of peace and quiet. Also having a lot of trail cam pictures, a lot of previous experiences really helps you sit there and make it through the day.
All right, we got to turn to the young guy now, Zach Brown. Like I mentioned, you're the youngest guy in the group. How do you stay fresh throughout all of this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, is talking to other people. Talking with Gunther is nice. I mean, he's probably the seasoned veteran here, and Ryan as well. This is the most time I've ever sat consecutively in a stand, so it's new to me. Fortunately, the weather has been pretty tolerable, so that's kept me fresh. And also, the property I'm hunting this next week is the best week, so that keeps me ready to go.
Ryan, I want to toss it back to you real quick. We know you're pursuing Thunder and Lightning. How goes that pursuit?
Well, you know, you just got to put your hours in and keep after the deer. I had Lightning at 40 yards, full draw at 40 yards, and there was too many branches in the way. I couldn't take the shot, so I let him go. Just wasn't an ethical shot, but it's been, you know, it's just so fun to chase those 2 deer. I've got pictures for 3 or 4 years of them, and they're in a great spot to hunt, so it's kind of a joy. It's a joy. It's awesome.
You've also been getting a lot of video coverage of those 2 and other deer. Let's take a look now at what you've captured.
He's amazing. I got a picture of him from where I was sitting. He was about 150 yards away. He was far. I'm back in another area where he's been coming consistently. I just need to sit and wait. But he loves crossing this one fence. I don't know why, but he always does it. And then there's a transition area, or like an area where I can kind of mouse trap him. It's a perfect little funnel. I've actually never seen him from a tree stand, so maybe I'll get lucky tonight. I'm out till he comes, or maybe somebody else comes. Who knows?
Well, that was a wet day. Just laying everything out to dry now.
I think, like, overall, I was dry. There's no problem being dry. The problem is once you get the chill, once you have that chill going, there's no way you can get rid of it. It sucks. I mean, it's about being uncomfortable but not miserable, and today I was borderline miserable. I was. I'm not even gonna hide it. I have bad circulation, hormone disorder, whatever. I don't know. What a whim.
Well, I'm in the garage now with Zach. He's right there. He's been hanging out a little bit. He's our rookie. I'm showing him the ropes. I don't know if he needs it, but last night I had a chance at Thunderbolt, and he just whipped through my lane. He was moving. I didn't even try to stop him because the light was low and it wouldn't have worked for the camera. Basically, I got a Tacticam video and he just goes zip right through the lane. Couldn't shoot him. And then today, after this insane storm, lightning walks out right when the storm stopped. It was so crazy. It was so cool. Just a huge buck comes right out. So Zach and I are in the garage, and we've decided it's time, after 2 days of Bowzone Live, to crack a cold one.
Bronx beer. That one.
What's it like?
It's got a mixture of hints of wheat and some barley.
Some wheat, alfalfa, oats.
It's just
all in
put
here.
this out in the yard.
This actually helps you. Actually, you'll smell like wheat and oats and alfalfa and canola. That's how good this beer is.
Oh, okay. I'm in my funnel here. I saw Thunderbolt here 2 days ago. And I saw lightning here last night. It's a little gap. There's a small little gap where the trees come together. And I can shoot right across. It's far, it's 60 across, but if they walk through the middle of the gap, it's about a 30-yard shot. Those are two good bucks, Thunder and Lightning. I'm on them now. I'm pretty much going to stay on them exclusively till the end to see if I can get a shot. There's other bucks here too that are also nice, so you never know what happens. Update. It's getting warmer, and that was a small buck chasing, but I've got a perfect little pinch point in here. I just need a good buck to come into it. If a good buck comes into here, I can get him. So now, it's a waiting game. I'll be here the entire time. I'm not moving from this chair. Okay. I just saw lightning again. I couldn't get him on video because what I did is I set the camera up. Because I thought he was coming, I set the camera up at where he would walk by through my shot. That's kind of what I've been doing, is I'm just pointing straight ahead where my lanes are and hoping he walks through. Of course, he didn't walk through my lanes at all. Lightning is the deer that has always lived with Thunder. There's two of them. Lightning's a huge 5. He's got a split on his G2 now. But I mean, he's massive. He's just a mega deer. And man, I gotta be honest with you, I'm completely unglued right now. Everything just so screwed up. I just want to get down and go put my head in the sand. And I'll tell you what, when you have encounters like this with huge deer like that, you just lose your Anyway, he came in and it would look like he was coming my way, and then he kind of turned, went the other way. I let one soft grunt go, and he almost came to it. He just looked, and he was thinking about it, and then he turned, went the other way, and I waited like 2 or 3 minutes more before I grunted again, while he was a little further away, and then it was almost like he gave me the finger. His tail flicked up in the air and just flicked at me, and like, F you kind of thing. And that was it. Lightning is out of my life for now, and I haven't seen thunder since I let him run through my wind that night in the dark, and he hit my wind super hard, and boy did he get pissed off. Anyway, I guess I'm going back to it here. Back to the cold.
You're watching Bowzone Live here on Wild TV. Tom Gazzola with you as we go back to Ryan Kohler's place, where he's joined by Gunther Tondelier and Zach Brown. As we get set to wind down this week, Ryan, I just want to ask you your plan of attack as you try to pursue and harvest a buck here.
For me, the rest of the week is going to be just sitting and waiting patiently for a shot. I think it's going to be an awesome week. The temperatures are really warm, so it won't be as hard as it has been in the past. And I've got some awesome deer that I'm after. I'm going to stick to it and see if I can't get one of them.
Gunther, like Ryan, you're holding out for some specific deer. What do you got your eyes on right now, if you can update us?
Well, I've been chasing Heavy Duty all season. Unfortunately, he has not been on camera for the last couple of weeks, but I've got a great spot. It's a nice pinch point. I got a fence post that the deer really like to rub there. I've seen them come from across the field just to rub it and then go back the way they came from. So it's really a calling card. Gives me a lot of confidence. And this last week, they should be starting to run out of some does to chase and covering more ground, trying to find those last few ones. So I'm hoping by being in that pinch point for the rest of the week, I'm going to run into him. And if not, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the season sitting there.
Fantastic. And Zach, finally, how about yourself?
Yeah, today I saw more action than I've seen in a long time, which is fitting because there's only like a week left to go. So I'm pretty motivated and I'm excited to get back out there. There's a hot doe in the area, so anything can walk me by.
Gentlemen, appreciate your time. Ryan, look forward to seeing what you have in store over the next couple of shows. Should be an exciting week here on Bowzone Live.
Thanks, Tom.
We certainly look forward to seeing what Ryan Kohler, Gunther Tondelier, and Zach Brown have in store throughout the rest of the week, as well as the rest of our hunters. You know, it's been an emotional week and a bit. The highs and lows of Heather Wilson, who did a great job co-hosting today, by the way. Thank you to Heather for hopping on the show today. Getting her buck on Saturday, and the thrill of doing that, getting it all on camera, that extra complication of shooting your own footage and all of that, to the tough aspect of bow hunting in the Bowzone with Jason Maas, which we saw today. You know, he gets his shot off, does hit his buck, but is not able to recover it after bumping it, gets out at first light and sees that the coyotes had indeed gotten to it. So we've got plenty more in store for you over the next couple of shows as our hunters continue to pursue their bucks. Will Ryan get thunder and lightning? We shall see. It should be very exciting to see throughout the rest of the week. As our hunters pursue their trophies, it's your chance to get your hands on some trophies yourselves. Check out wildtv.ca/contest to enter for a chance to win a brand new Traeger grill from Peavey Mart, a 1-year supply of arrows courtesy of Easton, the official arrows of Bowzone Live hunters, a 1-year supply of Afflictor broadheads. You can also win a hunter's package from the folks at Setlock. And finally, a Bronc Beer swag pack from our friends at Bronc Beer. We will be announcing those winners on Saturday, so be sure to check out wildtv.ca/contest to find out more about the great prize packages from all of our wonderful sponsors. From all of us here at Wild TV, in the heart of the Bowzone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bowzone Live is brought to you by Afflictor Broadheads, Bully.ca, Bronc Beer, Easton Archery, Euromounter, TV Mart, Power in Motion, Yokohama Tires, and White Rock Performance Gear.